Hey everybody, Chris Truder here, Japan's leading communication experts and business coach. How you all doing today? It's another hot day. I think it's raining outside. I don't know. I haven't been outside, but I heard it raining. Anyway, apologies. I haven't been doing this Facebook Live in a couple days. I've been sidetracked doing other things, but that's okay. I was just listening to a business coach saying you got to do content every day, get out there, find your voice. So here I am again. And the thing I was thinking about today that I want to share is asking questions is another key to success. So I just got off a Skype call with a Japanese student that I teach medical device business English to. And it wasn't really his lesson, it was a first assessment. And he had already filled out a questionnaire, and so I was going through the questionnaire, and before I started, the first thing I asked was, do you have any questions? And he said, no, I don't. And I said, okay, let's stop there. So we're getting ready to start this 12-week course, which I call My English Journey. And I told him, one of the most important things for improving your English communication skills, because that's his main goal, is that you must ask questions. So when the teacher or instructor asks you, do you have any questions? Always ask a question. And it's funny, this applies to so many things in life. When you have a job interview, we all know that when the interviewer asks you, usually at the end of the interview, do you have any questions? And if you say, no, I don't, that's probably a strike against you and you will not get an offer. So again, business coaches always uh, advise people for interviews is to prepare very good questions and ask those questions, okay? Another thing is I remember a professor I had a mathematics professor I had when I was going to the Northern Arizona State University in Flagstaff many years ago. And this was a class called matrix algebra or linear algebra. And very interesting professor. But again, he set the tone on the first day of class. He said, ask questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question. And he went on to say that someone who asks a lot of questions, that's a sign of intelligence. So of course that really encouraged me because I want to be intelligent, right? I want to learn things. I want to improve. I want to grow. So I ask many questions. So again, getting back to teaching English in Japan. So I know if you're an English teacher in Japan, you may be tired of always asking questions because this is another thing I talk about is that in teaching English in Japan, you want to get the students to ask questions because usually it's the teacher asking a question and the student just answers. But it's interesting as you teach English in Japan, if you focus on getting your students to ask questions, you will quickly find out that Japanese students, no matter what level of English they are, this is one of the most difficult things they have for them is to ask a question in English. Several factors, but the number one factor is just grammatically and structurally asking a question in Japanese, asking a question in English is very different than asking a question in Japanese. So that's grammar and structure. Number two, culturally, Japanese people are taught not to ask questions, right? Just obey. And number three, the way you ask a question in Japanese depends on the hierarchy, the level of the person you're talking to. So again, if you're talking to a teacher, there's this immediate thing of respect, sensei. And so there's a certain way of asking that question. The actual words and verbs in Japanese change. You use different words depending on the level of politeness and the level of respect. And again, that level of respect is determined by the social status of the person. So again, when you're teaching English, this becomes a barrier in Japan because as a teacher, you don't want the status to be sensei, you want the status to be equal. You want them, and also when they're speaking English, of course you need to show respect if you're talking with a superior in your company or you know, for example, a president of another company, you show respect, but the English language is very equal. And so, again, practicing and helping Japanese improve this skill of asking questions is very important. And like I said, it applies to so many things. It applies in interviews, and also for advanced English, I teach a course, negotiation English. And in negotiation English, again, one of the most important things to win a negotiation, to have the, you know, the upper hand, the control in negotiation, is to ask questions. Because without asking questions, you will not know what your counterpart, the other person you're talking to, what they're actually thinking, what they're feeling. So through asking questions, and not any question, but of course for practicing English, any question is fine. But as you develop the skill of asking questions, then you can go up to the next level of learning how to ask very strong, impactful questions. You know, again, not asking yes or no questions. Again, for beginning level, that's okay. But then learning how to ask questions of what, when, where, why. And again, that's to get more information. So again, for you English teachers out there in Japan, encourage you to get your students to ask as many questions as possible. Even try doing a lesson to where you're not teaching anything, you're just making the students ask questions. They're guiding the lesson, and then they're driving the lesson through their questions, and as the teacher, you're guiding the conversation and then helping them improve this very important skill of asking questions. All right, so thank you. Episode 24, asking questions, another key to success. I hope you have a great Wednesday out there today, August 28th, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, bye.